everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Vanessa here again in Nessa Kitchen, and in today's video we'll be making this delicious yummy cabbage pie. So here are the ingredients we'll be using for our cabbage pie. We'll be using cabbage, we'll be using carrot, we'll be using some eggs, we'll be using flour, we'll be using olive oil, and we'll be using some seasoning cubes. So first of all, I went ahead, I washed my cabbage. After washing my cabbage, I will be dividing my cabbage into two because using a whole cabbage will be too much for me. So I went ahead, I divided it up. I divided the cabbage into two. After dividing it, I have to remove the head of the cabbage. Yes, that strong layer, I have to remove it out. After bringing it out, I discovered that into two it was too much. It's still big, so I went ahead and I divided it into four. And yes, we'll be working with this is just perfect for me. So the next step now is just for me to slice my cabbage up into tiny portions. You can just slice it like this, or smaller or bigger. Just slice your cabbage the way you want it to be, or the way you like. So after slicing up my cabbage, so I went ahead and I packed it up and I put it into a bowl just like that, and I set it aside. The next step now, I'll be slicing up my onions. I used one onion. You can use as much onions as you want. I used one onion in my cabbage pie, so I sliced it up just like this into smaller sizes. After slicing it up, I mixed it up with the cabbage as well, and I set it aside. So the next step now, we are going to be using carrot as well. So I went ahead and I washed my carrot. After washing up my carrot, I have to remove the peel from the carrot just like that. That's what I'm doing. I'm removing up the peel. Then the next step now, I will be grating my carrot. You can grate your carrot. You can use a grater to grate your carrot, or you can chop it up with a knife into smaller portions as well. But for me, I use the grater. I grate up my carrot and I mixed it into the cabbage. So the next step now, I'll be putting in a little bit of spring onions inside my cabbage. I just wanted it to have the color, three different colors. You can as well use paprika. This paprika that is red, yellow and green. But please, when you're using paprika, don't put it much so that it will make your cabbage pie to be watery. For me, I just use cabbage, carrot and spring onions. So the next step now is just to spice up my cabbage pie. You can spice this up just like I said with any spices of your choice. For me, I use salt. I use a little bit of the powdered Maggi chicken stock. I used black pepper. I used the normal hot Nigerian pepper, the red one, the dry one. After mixing up all my spices into the cabbage, the next step now, I'll be mixing everything together. Yes, just mix it up together gently as so. After mixing it up, I set it aside. The next step now, I'll be breaking my eggs. The more eggs you use, the more you will enjoy your cabbage pie, guys. So I used just 4 eggs in this cabbage pie, but even with this quantity of the cabbage pie, you can use 5 or 6 eggs, but I decided to use 4. After breaking my eggs, I went ahead, I mixed it up just like that. So I added a little bit of salt. It depends on how you put your salt in the cabbage or your Maggi. You can add a little bit of other seasoning cube in your egg as well. After that, I just mixed it up. with the cabbage and carrots, just like that. Then I'll be using a little bit of flour. I used 1 spoon of flour in the cabbage. You can use flour, you can use breadcrumbs, but I decided to use flour. After mixing it up, yes, just like that, it's perfect. Like I said, the more eggs, the more you will enjoy your cabbage pie. So the next step now, I just set my frying pan on fire, and I'll be using olive oil. You can use olive oil or butter, or you can also use the normal vegetable oil, but I used olive oil. After that, I'm putting in my cabbage because the oil is already hot. Yes, just putting your cabbage into the pan. You can make your cabbage and pie to be big. You can make the dough to be big. You can make it to be small. For me, I wanted mine to be small, not really big. I wanted it to be flat. After putting it, I just look for a flat spoon, just the way I'm doing. I'm just laying it flat. I just wanted it to be flat. Yes, just like that. So this is the next one. It was too much for me to put in one frying pan, so I'm using 2 frying pan. So this is the next one as well. You just use the flat spoon to really like make it to like be flat. Yeah, just like that. And you will just allow this to steam on low heat. Don't put your oven or your cooker or your stove on a very high heat. Just make it to be low. After some minutes or second, I just use a spoon, just move it like that. As long as it moves like that, it did not stick to the pan, that's to say it's done. So now it's time for me to flip it over. I first of all placed foiled paper, then I placed a plate. Yes, then I was able to flip it over. But if you know that you can flip it over without the foiled paper or the plate, it's okay. But for me, I can't flip it over without the foiled paper. Everything will just land on the ground. So that is what I did. After flipping it over, you still put it back into the pan and still set it back on fire. Allow the other side to steam up as well. So this is the next one. I'll be doing the same thing, flipping it over, my foiled paper, my plate, and then flip it over. Yes, perfect, just like this. You can see it's done. So now I'm checking on it. Yeah, it's already done. You can see, yes, it's moving, it's not sticking to the pan, so it's done. So now I'll just get my plate. It's time for me to serve my cabbage pie. So I'll just get a plate. So now you just flip it into your plate. Look at it, guys. Oh my god, this was so nice. We really enjoyed it. The kids enjoyed it as well. I hope you guys too will try making it at home. I believe you will like it. So I went ahead, I fried plantain. So we ate our cabbage pie with plantain. Yeah, that is it. It looks so delicious and yummy. Try this, guys. I'll be seeing you in my next video. Do have a lovely day. Bye.